have all sorts of weirdness. You can scale independently, you can scale uniformly, you can rotate, you can left drag the thing. Whoop-de-doo. So left click away from it to get out of that. You can always just tap V instead. QV, 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 you know. But here's what Flash is lying to us about. When I tap Q, there's a little white dot that appears. If I'm rotating, and you'll notice it rotates around that white dot. It doesn't rotate anywhere else. If I move the white dot to a weird position, it's rotating around that white dot. This is useful for building stuff, but it kills your animations. Don't do this. The only way to guarantee you're going to set an animation right is double left-clicking this white dot. It will then snap to the true center of the movie clip, which you can verify by left-clicking your movie clip twice. See that white plus sign? That is the true center. That's the 0, 0 position of this movie clip. That's so important. I can't stress it enough, because everybody screws this up at least once. It's very easy to screw up. It's designed that way. I don't know why. Well, now if I left-click it, all this stuff is junked up. We want 100%, 100%, rotate, 0, enter. There. Did it mess up my transform? Tap Q, double left-click the dot, V. Okay, now it's centered properly. Info, plug in 0, 0 for XY. Now, the head is centered correctly and is in the right position. Now I don't care really much about the rest of it. Okay, so head. We've created a head clip, and it's now on its own layer and keyframe of the timeline. Let's do the same with the jaw. Well, let's do it a different way. Rather than creating the clip over here in the library and copying it over, we can simply just select this and right-click Convert to Symbol. That's right-click Convert to Symbol. Now we're going to call this jaw. Okay. Now look where I put it. Fantastic. It wasn't anywhere where I wanted it to go. So now we have to drag it back to the My New Enemy folder. Which can be a bother, mind you. But now we have the head and the jaw in the same folder. The jaw has the exact same problem the head did. It isn't exactly centered. So, first off, Q... double left click the white dot. Oh my gosh, that's where the center is. Note that I can drag around the center and it'll snap to other clips that have centers, if it allows me. Yeah? Come on, you. There. So now that I've tapped Q on this thing and double left click that white dot and then tap V, they are now both at their correct center. Obviously this one's offset, isn't it? Because that's not where the jaw really goes, because this thing's now broken. So you double left click the symbol, and then you move this jaw back to where it should be. Since I'm inside of the jaw symbol, I'm not editing anything else. That's why it's all whited out. If I double left click away from it, now I'm back to my animation. Are they centered? Not really. I'm going to move it a little bit more. There. So now, if I left click the jaw or the head and Q, they'll rotate around their respective center, which jaws don't open like that, really. That's not where the jaw rotates from, for example. The jaw actually rotates from up here somewhere, where the jawbone is, because it's that little L shape that moves. So, if I'm making an animation, the way this is set up is going to be very inconvenient for making that jaw open. So what do we do? The answer is we have to set that transform center at a reasonable position. So I'm going 100. This is the setup work. This is the annoying stuff that lots of people don't like to do and as a result never get anywhere. You have to do this. No exception. So, where's the jaw actually rotating from? I would say it's about there. That little white plus sign is where that jaw should be. So since I haven't changed the movie clip any, I now move this one to compensate for it. Now, it's better. There, that looks a lot better. Now they're rotating from a natural center that makes a lot more sense. That's going to help me out later. So now all I have is a head clip and a jaw clip. But we haven't made any animation whatsoever. But here's the thing. Before you do any animation, if you left click one of these symbols, you'll notice down here in the properties, which may not be visible. If it's not visible, you want to make sure it is. Window, properties, properties. You're going to need to use this a lot. It says it's a movie clip and it's an instance of the head, which you can find in the library. And it has this funny thing over here called instance name. You see that? Instance name? This is the super important. You want to name every instance you put down on the stage something reasonable before you start animating. Don't you dare start animating without putting in an instance name. So this is head. That's reasonable. Left click the jaw. That's jaw. Okay. Instance names do not match up with these names over here. These are the library symbol names, and these are the instance names. For example, I can copy paste this guy, and I can have like head 2 and head 3 if I want to make a Hydra kind of thing. Whoop-de-doo. They're all named differently. These are instances of the same symbol. It's the same head symbol, but different instances. So if for example, I drew a red dot in here somewhere that was supposed to be an eye, you'll notice that all the instances changed. The symbol is that collection. So, look. Delete those. So we have a head and a jaw. That doesn't help me a whole bunch. Let's draw a body. Bodies are kind of weird, but we'll do it with the in the lines. So I'm gonna tap in. It's a little ganky, but we'll make it work. Same method, nothing changes. Guess I'm going for a raptor-like. Hide the head and jaw. Interesting, they aren't connected. Let's connect them with something. You can kind of see why I did it that way. That way when the jaw opens, I can move the body around to match it as needed. Interesting technical point. It's like when you get the Monster Maker edition, you're going to also have a white. Yuck. I'm not making a Yoshi. Oh no, I want to use the same color as the jaw or the head, but there's no color to select now. Here's how you do this. Because I have a clip of the jaw, I can copy the jaw instance, lock the layers, go to my body, paste the jaw. I still can't copy the color from it. It won't let me select the color, see? Little eyedropper dude. Can't pull that color out. Well, here's how you do it. Left click on that instance, Control B. Boom, it's broken. Eyedropper, left click, paste. Bam. That's how you can copy colors from other instances. Remember not to delete the one you were working with. If I accidentally Control B the jaw as it is, I would ruin everything. So be careful with that. Now I have a body. He doesn't look too centered. Let's unselect all the layers, Control A. Move him so he's about there. About there. What's this? Delete. Now he looks a little bit more centered. Man, he's going to be derpy as goodness. Okay. So we have a rough outline of the body, which I'm going to call body. Probably need to give him a leg of some kind. You'll notice that the layers have order. You can drag the layers around by selecting it and then dragging it, and you can make the order whatever the heck you want. Whoop-de-doo. Drawing a leg. Drawing legs are with circles. Whoop-de-doo. V. I'm just doing this blind because when you do it blind, you can kind of see what's going on back there. Anyway. Left drag. I've got more geometry to work with. It's a gigantic leg. Left drag, more geometry. Too big. If this thing is too big, I can also left-click or drag around the whole thing. If you left-click something, or double left-click something, it'll select everything that's connected to it. So double left-click is like select all. And Shift Q. You'll notice we haven't done anything like interesting like detail or lines or nothing like that yet. There's a reason. It's because the complexity what we start with, we want to get the rough outline going. We don't want to start with making it all look shaded nice because we don't yet know where the final position for all the animated pieces are. As I showed you with the head and jaw, it's going to take some adjusting before you get the shape right for animating. So don't expect to be able to jump in here and start like just drawing all sorts of cool stuff, because you're going to need to make sure the animation's going to work before you try and draw the cool stuff. That's a common mistake with a lot of people. They don't put in the technical animation work before starting their animation, and they get all frustrated because they find out that they didn't think. Happens a bunch. We want to get the basics down. Body's interrupting me, so I'll make it transparent. Leg. Yay. I kind of would like the leg to be there. So I'm going to move everything around and adjust the body. Kind of skinny. Left drag. What happened? I made a mistake, see? I was all trigger happy and something went horribly wrong. Before you start clicking a whole bunch of things, how about you just undo a bunch? And see just what went wrong. You'll do that at least once in Flash, so if before you freak out too much, remember you have a few steps of undo. Use them. Don't pretend like it's the end of the world. Just stop, undo, go forward. Leg. Giant raptor head. Leg doesn't have any claws. Well, one thing we haven't done yet is really do anything interacting with shapes and colors. Remember what I said though. You don't want to do this until you've got the thing basically lined out for what you want animation-wise. So what if I want a leg in the front? Copy paste him, right? Q, shear. Q, shear. Now we're getting more layers. If you haven't done so already, your layers may be too large. They may look like this, and you're like, oh crap, that's way too much space. So there's a little tiny button they don't tell you about up here next to the end of the timeline that you can left click and adjust the size of the keyframes, and you can select short. That's going to help you out a bunch because it makes the layers much smaller. Alright, so let's see. We've got something like a raptor shape going. Its head looks a little weird now. Now that I've drawn the body and something like the legs, its head's all stupid. Well, gotta fix it. Nicely, we can just double-click the symbol we made and go back through and more raptorize this guy. If you've done your work right, you don't have to do as much work later. Like I said, you aren't going to know, when you get started, what your product's going to want to look like. Because there are a bunch of strange things that go on in Flash, and until you've played with that enough,